Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, Old Coins News. Today we're exploring 4 classic Jefferson nickels, 1941D, 1946, 1957, and 1958D, featuring Monticello and the famous motto, E Pluribus Unum. Let's discover the history and value of these amazing 5-cent coins. Let's get started. The 1941D Jefferson nickel is one of the classic coins of American numismatic history. It belongs to the Jefferson Nickel series that began in 1938 and replaced the earlier Buffalo nickel. The design of this coin honors the 3rd President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, whose portrait appears on the obverse. The reverse side features Monticello, Jefferson's famous plantation home in Virginia. The 1941D nickel was produced during a fascinating period in American history, just before the United States entered World War II, making coins from this era especially interesting to collectors and historians. The obverse, front of the coin, shows a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The word Liberty appears to the right of Jefferson's portrait, followed by the year 1941, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed along the left edge of the coin. The design was created by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag, who won a design competition organized by the United States Mint in 1938. Schlag's design replaced the Native American and buffalo imagery that had been used on the Buffalo Nickel series for 25 years. His portrait of Jefferson became one of the most recognizable images on American coinage, and remains in use today, although it has been updated slightly over the decades. On the reverse side of the 1941D Jefferson nickel is the detailed image of Monticello. Above the building is the inscription, E Pluribus Unum, a Latin phrase meaning, out of many, one, symbolizing the unity of the United States. The word Monticello appears below the building, followed by the denomination 5 cents and the country name, United States of America. The mint mark D, indicating that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, appears to the right of Monticello on the reverse side. This mint mark is important for collectors because coins from different mints can vary in rarity and value. The 1941D Jefferson nickel was struck primarily from a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which was the standard alloy used for nickels before the wartime composition changes of 1942 to 1945. The coin weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. Its smooth edge, known as a plain edge, is typical for United States nickels. The metal mixture gives the coin a silvery gray appearance that can become darker over time as the coin circulates and reacts with air and moisture. The year 1941 was an important year in American history. The United States was still recovering from the Great Depression, and the country was on the brink of entering World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor later that year. Coins minted in 1941 therefore represent the last full year of traditional nickel composition before the wartime Silver War nickels were introduced in 1942. Because nickel metal was needed for military equipment, the United States Mint temporarily changed the composition of nickels during the war to conserve strategic materials. The Denver Mint produced millions of 1941D nickels. According to official mint records, the Denver facility struck more than 53 million coins that year. This large mintage means that the coin is generally considered common in circulated condition. However, high-grade examples that remain uncirculated with sharp details and original luster can still attract interest from collectors. Coins graded in mint state MS condition by professional grading services can be significantly more valuable than worn coins found in everyday circulation. Collectors of the Jefferson Nickel series often look for coins with a feature known as full steps. This term refers to the steps leading up to the entrance of Monticello on the reverse design. When these steps are sharply struck and clearly visible without interruptions, the coin may receive a full steps designation from grading companies. Such coins are more difficult to find because the steps are one of the first areas to wear down during circulation, or to appear weakly struck during the minting process. A 1941 D Jefferson nickel with full steps can be worth significantly more than a normal example. The historical importance of Thomas Jefferson also adds to the appeal of the coin. Jefferson was the principal author of the United States Declaration of Independence and served as the third President of the United States from 1801 to 1809. He was also responsible for the Louisiana Purchase, which doubled the size of the young nation. His home, Monticello, became a symbol of American architecture and Enlightenment ideals, making it a fitting design for the reverse of the Jefferson nickel. In terms of value, most circulated 1941 D Jefferson nickel coins are worth only a small premium over face value, typically ranging from 10 cents to $1, depending on condition. However, uncirculated examples can be worth several dollars, and coins with exceptional strike quality or full steps designation may sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars in the collector market. The value depends on factors such as condition, rarity, demand, and certification by professional grading services. For coin collectors and historians, the 1941 D Jefferson nickel represents more than just a small piece of currency. It is a historical artifact from a pivotal time in American history, reflecting the nation's culture, politics, and economic conditions on the eve of global conflict. Its elegant design by Felix Schlag, its association with Thomas Jefferson, and its connection to the historic site of Monticello all combine to make it a fascinating coin for collectors around the world. The 1946 Jefferson nickel is an important coin in American numismatic history and represents the first full year of nickel production after the end of World War II. This coin belongs to the Jefferson nickel series that began in 1938, when the United States Mint replaced the earlier Buffalo nickel. The Jefferson nickel honors Thomas Jefferson, one of the most influential figures in American history. The coin features Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and the image of his historic Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. For collectors, the 1946 nickel is particularly meaningful because it marks the transition from wartime coinage back to peacetime production and the restoration of the traditional nickel-copper alloy. On the obverse side of the 1946 Jefferson nickel, the viewer sees the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. This portrait was designed by the German-American sculptor Felix Schlag, whose design won a national competition held by the United States Mint in 1938. Jefferson's calm and thoughtful expression symbolizes leadership, enlightenment, and democratic ideals. On the left side of the portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that has appeared on many United States coins since the 19th century and reflects the historical influence of faith in American public life. On the right side of the portrait is the word liberty, followed by the year 1946, separated by a small star. These inscriptions highlight the American values of freedom, independence, and national identity. The reverse side of the coin features a detailed engraving of Monticello, the famous neoclassical mansion, designed and built by Thomas Jefferson himself. Monticello is located near Charlottesville, Virginia, and today it is preserved as a museum and UNESCO World Heritage Site. The building's elegant dome and symmetrical architecture are clearly depicted on the coin's reverse. Above the building appears the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, which symbolizes the unity of the United States, formed from many states and peoples. Beneath the image of Monticello appears the name Monticello, followed by the denomination 5 cents, and the inscription United States of America, clearly identifying the issuing nation and the coin's value. The 1946 Jefferson nickel was minted during a significant transitional moment in American coinage. During World War II, the United States government needed nickel metal for military equipment such as armor plating and weaponry. As a result, the United States Mint temporarily changed the composition of nickels between 1942 and 1945. These wartime coins, often called war nickels, contained 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese instead of the usual nickel alloy. However, when the war ended in 1945, the mint returned to the original composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. The 1946 Jefferson nickel, therefore, represents the return to the traditional metal mixture that had been used before the war. Physically, the 1946 Jefferson nickel weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. The coin has a smooth, plain edge and a metallic appearance that ranges from bright silver gray in uncirculated condition to darker shades in circulated examples due to oxidation and wear. Like other Jefferson nickels, the coin was designed for everyday use in commerce and circulated widely across the United States in the years following the war. In 1946, the United States Mint produced these nickels at 3 different facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Coins from Philadelphia did not carry a mint mark, while coins from Denver carried the letter D, and those from San Francisco carried the letter S. The mint mark appears on the reverse side of the coin, to the right of the Monticello building. Each mint produced millions of nickels in 1946, as the American economy expanded after the war and demand for coinage increased. For collectors, the 1946 Jefferson nickel is usually considered a common coin in circulated grades because of its high mintage numbers. However, high-quality uncirculated coins can still be desirable, especially those with strong strike details and original mint luster. One of the most sought-after features among Jefferson nickel collectors is the full steps designation. This refers to the steps leading up to the entrance of Monticello on the reverse side. When these steps appear fully separated and sharply defined, the coin may receive a full steps label from professional grading services. Such coins are much rarer and can command significantly higher prices in the collector market. Historically, Thomas Jefferson was one of the most important leaders in the early history of the United States. He was the primary author of the United States Declaration of Independence, and later served as the 3rd president of the nation from 1801 to 1809. Jefferson was also responsible for the Louisiana Purchase, which doubled the size of the country and opened vast new territories for exploration and settlement. By placing Jefferson's portrait on the nickel and featuring Monticello, the coin celebrates his contributions to American democracy, architecture, and political philosophy. From a market perspective, most circulated 1946 Jefferson nickel coins are worth only a small premium over their face value of 5 cents. Typically, worn examples may sell for 10 to 50 cents, depending on their condition. Uncirculated coins may be worth several dollars, and coins with exceptional strike quality or full steps designation may sell for much higher prices at auctions or coin shows. Professional grading services such as those recognized by collectors often evaluate these coins using the Sheldon grading scale, which ranges from poor, P1, to perfect mint state, MS70. The 1958 D Jefferson nickel is an interesting and historically meaningful coin from the Jefferson Nickel series of the United States. This coin was produced by the United States Mint and represents the continuation of the design that first appeared in 1938. The Jefferson nickel replaced the earlier Buffalo nickel, introducing a new design that honored Thomas Jefferson. The portrait of Jefferson appears on the obverse of the coin, while the reverse shows Monticello, the elegant plantation house designed and owned by Jefferson. The 1958 D nickel reflects the mid-20th century era of American history, a time of economic growth, technological advancement, and cultural change in the United States. The obverse side of the 1958 D Jefferson nickel features the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. This portrait was designed by the talented sculptor Felix Schlag, who won a national design competition held by the United States Mint in 1938. Schlag's design has become one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. On the left side of Jefferson's portrait appears the inscription, "In God We Trust," the national motto of the United States that reflects the country's historical emphasis on faith and moral values. On the right side of the portrait appears the word liberty, followed by the year 1958. These inscriptions symbolize freedom and the democratic ideals that the United States was founded upon. The reverse side of the 1958 D. Jefferson Nickel displays a detailed engraving of Monticello, the famous estate located near Charlottesville, Virginia. Monticello is widely known for its elegant neoclassical architecture and historical significance. Above the building is the Latin phrase "E pluribus unum," which translates to "out of many one," symbolizing the unity of the United States formed from many states and diverse people. Beneath the building appears the word Monticello, followed by the denomination 5 cents and the inscription United States of America. The mint mark D, indicating that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, appears to the right side of the Monticello building. The 1958 D. Jefferson Nickel was minted in large numbers during the late 1950s. In fact, the Denver Mint produced over 168 million coins that year, making it one of the more common Jefferson nickels in circulation. Because of this high mintage, the coin is generally easy to find in circulated condition. However, collectors still appreciate high-grade uncirculated examples, especially those that retain their original mint luster and sharp strike details. In terms of physical specifications, the 1958 D. Jefferson Nickel has a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the standard alloy used for United States nickels since the late 19th century, except for the wartime silver nickels of 1942 to 1945. The coin weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. It also features a plain edge, which means the edge is smooth rather than reeded. When freshly minted, the coin displays a bright metallic luster, but with circulation and age, the surface may become darker or develop toning due to exposure to air and environmental conditions. For collectors of the Jefferson Nickel series, one of the most important features to examine is the quality of the strike on the steps of Monticello. These steps appear directly below the entrance of the building on the reverse side of the coin. If the steps are clearly visible and fully separated without breaks, the coin may receive a special designation called full steps. Coins with full steps are more difficult to find because the steps are often weakly struck during minting or worn away during circulation. A 1958 D. Jefferson Nickel with full steps can be worth significantly more than a typical example. The coin also reflects the historical importance of Thomas Jefferson, who played a crucial role in shaping the early United States. Jefferson was the primary author of the United States Declaration of Independence and served as the third president from 1801 to 1809. He also completed the historic Louisiana Purchase, which greatly expanded the country's size and influence. Jefferson's intellectual achievements and political philosophy made him one of the most admired figures in American history, which is why his image continues to appear on the 5-cent coin. During the year 1958, the United States was experiencing a period of rapid development during the early Cold War era. The nation was investing heavily in science, technology, and education, particularly after the launch of Sputnik 1 in 1957. Coins like the 1958 D. Jefferson Nickel circulated widely among Americans during this time of social and technological change. They were used in everyday transactions such as public telephones, vending machines, and transportation fares, making them an important part of daily life. Today, most circulated 1958 D. Jefferson Nickel coins are worth only slightly more than their face value of 5 cents, typically ranging from 10 cents to $1, depending on their condition. Uncirculated examples may be worth several dollars, while coins with exceptional quality, strong strikes, or full steps designation may sell for much higher prices in the collector market. Professional grading services often evaluate these coins using the Sheldon grading scale, which helps determine their value based on preservation and appearance. The 1957 Jefferson nickel is a classic example of mid-20th century American coinage and an important part of the long-running Jefferson Nickel series produced by the United States Mint. Introduced in 1938, the Jefferson nickel replaced the earlier Buffalo nickel and brought a completely new design, celebrating the legacy of Thomas Jefferson. The 1957 coin reflects a period of economic growth and social transformation in the United States during the post-war era. For coin collectors and historians, it represents both the artistry of American coin design and the everyday commerce of the 1950s. The obverse displays the portrait of Jefferson, while the reverse shows his famous Virginia home, Monticello, making the coin a tribute to one of the most influential leaders in American history. On the obverse side of the 1957 Jefferson nickel, a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson dominates the design. This portrait was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, who won a national design competition organized by the United States Mint in 1938. Schlag's design was praised for its clarity and realism, presenting Jefferson as a thoughtful statesman and philosopher. To the left of Jefferson's portrait appears the inscription, "In God We Trust," a phrase that reflects the long-standing tradition of religious expression in American public life. On the right side of the portrait is the word "Liberty," followed by the year 1957, separated by a small star. These inscriptions emphasize the ideals of freedom, independence, and faith that have shaped the identity of the United States since its founding. The reverse side of the 1957 Jefferson nickel features a detailed representation of Monticello, the elegant neoclassical mansion that Jefferson designed and built near Charlottesville, Virginia. Monticello served as Jefferson's home for most of his life and is considered one of the most famous historic residences in the United States. Above the building is the Latin motto, E Pluribus Unum, which translates to "out of many, one," symbolizing the unity of the American states into a single nation. Below the image of Monticello appears the word Monticello, followed by the denomination 5 cents and the inscription United States of America. These elements clearly identify the coin's value and the country that issued it. The 1957 Jefferson nickel was produced at multiple facilities of the United States Mint. Coins without a mint mark were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, while coins with the letter D were produced at the Denver Mint. A smaller number of coins were also struck at the San Francisco Mint, which used the letter S as its mint mark. Each mint produced millions of coins in 1957 to meet the growing demand for currency during a time of expanding commerce and population in the United States. In terms of composition, the 1957 Jefferson nickel follows the traditional alloy used for most American nickels. The coin consists of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a durable metallic structure and a silver-gray appearance. It weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, making it slightly larger than a penny, but smaller than a quarter. The coin also features a plain edge, meaning the edge is smooth rather than reeded. This composition and size were chosen to balance durability with practicality for everyday use in commerce. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Jefferson Nickel series is the architectural detail on the reverse side of the coin. The steps leading up to the entrance of Monticello are particularly important to collectors. When these steps are sharply struck and clearly visible, the coin may receive a special designation known as full steps. Coins with this designation are considered more desirable because the steps are often weakly struck or worn away during circulation. A 1957 Jefferson nickel with full steps can therefore be significantly more valuable than a typical circulated example. The historical figure featured on the coin, Thomas Jefferson, played a crucial role in shaping the early history of the United States. Jefferson was the principal author of the United States Declaration of Independence, one of the most important political documents in world history. He later served as the third president of the United States, from 1801 to 1809. During his presidency, Jefferson completed the historic Louisiana Purchase, greatly expanding the territory of the young nation and opening new opportunities for exploration and settlement. The year 1957 itself was a significant time in global history. The United States was deeply involved in the geopolitical tensions of the Cold War. That same year, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, marking the beginning of the space age and intensifying the technological competition between the two superpowers. While these global events were unfolding, millions of 1957 Jefferson nickel coins circulated through American businesses, homes, and communities, quietly serving as everyday tools of commerce. From a collector's perspective, the 1957 Jefferson nickel is generally considered a common coin due to its large mintage. Most circulated examples are worth only a small premium above face value, typically between 10 cents and 50 cents, depending on their condition. However, uncirculated coins with bright mint luster may be worth several dollars. Coins with exceptional strike quality or full steps designation can command significantly higher prices in auctions or specialized coin markets.